this is Katie. Today I'm going to show you a few little simple techniques on how you can do some fussy cutting using your craft knife. Okay, it would be very easy if you use it with a pair of scissors, for example, this kind of precision scissors. But if, let's say, you are someone that is very anal like me, that I wanted to use, like for example this certain image here, but I want to keep the frame for something else, like for example for this, then it would be a better option that you use a craft knife to cut these images out. So I'm going to show you a very easy way on how you can cut it precisely using craft knife. Okay, I have two particular craft knife that I always use for all my cuttings, including fussy cuttings. This is by Stewart, the 3-in-1 utility knife, where you have this portion where you have this blade where you can do a lot of cutting. I find the blades are pretty sharp and they do cut pretty well. And over here, as you twist this around, this is actually a bone folder for you to do some creases, and you have a tweezer here. So I find this quite useful. It's like everything in one. If you are someone that probably you do not want to spend like over $10 to get a utility knife like this, you can get this kind of pen knife, which I find it very affordable. Is a Japanese brand called Anti-Kato, and it's like a normal pen knife, which are a lot of artists that I know they use this as a preferred brand of utility knife. So as for the blades, I would suggest that you get blades that is like this, rather than the common ones, which is not really at this angle. It's like a little bit a broader angle. So get blades that is like this, so that it actually cuts well. So if you compare with my Stewart 3-in-1 utility craft knife, it's actually the same. It's just that you are buying this because of a brand, so you're paying for the brand, whereas for this you're paying for the blade and the quality itself. So it really depends. I'm not sure how much is this kind of blade is selling, but in Singapore I can get it like about for a blade of 5 is about less than $5. It's about 3 USD. So and one thing about this is that when it's blunt, you can just snap it off just like a normal pen knife, whereas for the Stewart you have to purchase the replacement blade. So that's the difference. So I'm going to show you how you're going to cut. Okay, I don't really particularly like that kind of craft knife that is round shape, which I know that there are some brands that they serve it a round shape. Is more ergonomic, I feel. But for me, it's because I do like to do fussy cutting using craft knife, and I think that this kind of shape, this kind of flat shape, is easier for me. So how you should actually hold your craft knife, you should hold it like this. And then I know a lot of people, they like to cut it like this. It's actually very strenuous to your fingers, because have you noticed, for example, if you cut like chipboards or whatsoever, when you cut it like this, it's actually very painful. The actual way of holding this kind of utility knife is to hold it like this, as if like you're holding like a pen. So how you should cut, maybe for chipboards or any sorts of paper, if you need to cut using ruler or freehand, this is the trick. You should hold it this way, and then when you hold it on your craft mat, you lay maybe your pinky finger or your last two finger on the mat like this, and then as you cut, you use over your hand over this side has a pivot, so you rest upon the craft net, and then you just cut like this. If you notice, it's actually easier. For example, if you want to cut your chipboard, because chipboard you need to cut it several times, sometimes it's good that when you are seated down or when you are standing up, you can bend your body forward using your body weight to push in front, and then you assert the pressure using your body weight, and then you just cut like this. You can try. It's actually much easier and your hand won't feel so strenuous. So this applies the same as you cut papers. I learned this technique when I was learning my footwear design in pattern making, where we need to cut those patterns on cardboard and you can't really use it on scissors somehow or rather. So we are trained to use how to use craft knife. So this is the way that how you should hold your utility knife and how you should cut. And I have already cut a few here, so I'm going to show you how you should cut using this method. So you use this part of your hand, you rest it on your craft mat, and then you start cutting using your usually I use my pinky fingers, but sometimes I use both of my fingers, but I think the pinky fingers is just fine now that you rest it on the craft mat. So when you cut, you just cut like this. You maneuver your fingers, your hand like this, so that it's actually easier. And when you cut papers, whether it's using papers or using utility knife, it's always good that you move the paper rather than you move your hand. So this is how a short demo that I'm going to show you how you're going to cut. Okay, so I'm going to cut the easier side, maybe on this side to show you. So rest my hand on the craft mat like this, and then I will start cutting like this. So as you notice, I actually use my pinky finger to rest on the craft mat and then just cut like this. Okay, so when you finish cutting to a point where your hand couldn't move anymore, then you move your papers like this. And you don't have to apply too much pressure on it, because you are using your hand as a pivot to move, as if like a compass. Okay, so sometimes you may need to lift up your hand a little, and then you just shift like this, and then you just cut accordingly to the shape. I would suggest that you do fussy cuttings maybe during the day, not so much at night, because it could be quite strenuous to your eyes. Okay, so this is how I cut. If you notice it's actually quite easy. So I'm going to cut this later on because it's quite detailed. So I'm going to cut this area, which is easier. If you notice that this is how I maneuver my hand, and then I just move my fingers like this. You actually, when you rest your fingers onto your craft mat and move your paper at the same time, you realize that actually you have more control. Imagine if you hold it like this, like a lot of people that I observe. It's not for this kind of craft knife, maybe for the round kind, I'm not so sure. If you really cut it this method, you realize it's actually not very precise, and it's actually quite strenuous to your hand. So you just move like this, and then you continue cutting, which I think that is, I mean, I don't know, but it's quite easy for me. So this is how you should do your fussy cutting. And then I put a little bit close up to the camera. You could see it actually cuts quite well. So this is how you cut fussy cutting using your craft knife. And I hope this very short tutorial will help. And thanks for watching. Bye.